YouTube! How you guys doing today? This is Mike, Pratt Family Homestead. Today we are going to can some venison chili. Now, we are going to follow the chili recipe in the ball book, but we are going to substitute ground beef for ground venison, and we are going to do pints. So, come along. Hopefully I can get this down to a pretty condensed version for you, make it pretty quick. Let's see if I can do that. Come on! Alright, so following the ball book recipe here, that's exactly what we're going to do, except that we are going to be substituting 5 pounds ground beef for 5 pounds of venison. This is venison that I harvested last year, right across the street. And then it says one hot red pepper finely chopped. These are actually dehydrated cayenne peppers that we harvested 2 years ago, and they're still pretty dry. So we're going to take some of these. I don't think I'll even reconstitute them. I think I'll just make pepper flakes out of them and put them in there. 1 teaspoon of cumin seed. It said I don't have cumin seed. I only have cumin ground, so we will see how much I'll probably do it to flavor to some degree, but it'll probably end up being a little bit less than a teaspoon. And we need 1 garlic clove. If you know anything about us, I will be putting more than 1 garlic clove in there. I'll probably put 2 or 3. Again, this is garlic that we harvested here. So we harvested, well, actually everything going into this, I'm just now realizing, is ours, except for the 3 seasonings following the book there. So that is really cool. Okay, I've got the venison, the ground venison, over there browning right now. We're supposed to let that brown, and then we're going to add the onions and the garlic to that. And once the onions soften, we're going to add everything else. So in here I have the chili powder, I have the salt, the cumin, and the hot pepper. Here's a picture of how much hot pepper I put in. I decided maybe to go a little less on it because I will love a ton of it. The rest of the family might not love so much of it. So I'm going to put this garlic in with the onions. And when the meat is all browned up and we drain whatever grease there might be, we drain it off, we will go put that in there. As of right now, I'm going to gather up 6 cups of our canned tomatoes, and if need be, I'll go get another jar as well. Alright, so 6 cups of canned tomatoes actually ended up using 4 quarts of our canned tomatoes. Now, I really like my chilies thicker and stuff, so I drained off almost all of the water. So, there's not a lot of water content. Well, I mean, there is, but you guys understand what I'm saying. There's not water running off of this like crazy. If this were to sit here for a while, a lot of water would come to the top, but are you curious to see how much grease and fat comes off of this? I kind of am. It won't be much. Alright, we're getting there as far as getting browned up. There is next to... I'm going to go ahead and drain this, I guess, but I don't know if you can tell. I don't know how it comes out on video, but this meat over here is pretty brown. There's still some pink here. So we'll cook this, and some pink down here. We'll cook this a little bit more, and we'll go ahead and drain this off. But we're getting there. The meat is, for the most part, browned up. I've been over here while it's been browning. I've been cleaning my canner. Let's see if I can capture how much there might be in here. This is not going to go good, probably. So there's, okay, that's going to be it. We'll get it drained. Also, I'd like to bring up at this point that this yields about 6 pints or 3-quart jars. We are going to can this in pints in case nobody else likes it, in which case I'm sure I will, and I'll eat it. We've never done this recipe before, so. And then also with the quarts, Jenny might with the pints, Jenny might decide for a dinner one night that maybe a quart's enough for us. Maybe a quart and a half, so maybe 3 pints is what we need for a meal for us. So that's another good reason for us doing pints, till we figure out what it is that we need to feed the family for the night. All right, now comes adding the garlic and onions. I got them together here. For the onions, I ended up using one of those white onions and one of the purple ones, and that came out to, well, you know, 2-ish cups right on the bat, right on the nose. So we'll get those mixed in. It should not take long at all for those to soften up. Alright, we are calling these onions soft. I don't know, I just picked out a couple and they felt soft. That's about as technical as I can get on it. Now we're going to add everything else in. The smell, I just gotta say, the smell of this venison is completely changed with the addition of the onions and the garlic. This alone smells amazing. Alright. Let's get some other stuff added. Let's start with our tomatoes. 6 cups of the tomatoes. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and stir that in a little bit. And this is supposed to simmer. So it's going to take a little while to heat up. I'm going to turn this way down. If I really think I need to, if I really think I drained too much tomato juice off, I'll probably add some water. Or we use canned tomatoes for everything, so I may go open up another can and add the juices into here. But I think this is going to be okay. We'll just have to see how it turns out. There isn't a whole lot of liquid to it, but let's see what happens when it starts cooking for a little bit. I may go ahead and add some juices back in. So then we've got, correct me if I'm wrong, we've got 1/2 cup of chili powder. We've got 1.5 tablespoons of salt. We've got a little bit less than 1 teaspoon of cumin powder and our hot pepper. So we'll get that in there. I can already see liquids rising there. See that? So we'll just see how it turns out. Get all this mixed in here. I'm going to frequently stir this as it's simmering for the next 20 minutes. So we'll get it to a simmering point. Those are some very cold tomatoes that got put in there. Our storage room is pretty cold. Oh, I can smell this right now. It smells great. I can't imagine what it's going to smell like when it starts really warming up. Let's get that up to a simmer. Look at all this liquid that's coming up here already. So I think it's going to be fine with liquid. Like I said, we'll get this up to a simmer. My understanding is a simmer. I do not do a lot in the kitchen, folks. But my understanding of a simmer is it's going to be really super hot, but not quite boiling. Or if it is boiling, maybe just a couple little bubbles here and there. But we want it hot. I think the point is to get it all warmed up, nice and hot, get the flavors working in good, and then we're going to then get it in the canner. So come over and stir this a couple times, keep a close eye on it. Once I feel like it is simmering, then it's going to be 20 minutes. Boom. All right, well that stuff is simmering. I get my words here. We are going to wash out the jars that we're going to use. I got a little water in there, put a little soap. We're going to wash it out. I'm also going to have these sit in hot water, waiting for the simmering to be done. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse these out. I guess you probably can't see too good there. We're going to rinse this out. Nice and hot water. And then we're going to also, we like to do a little bit of vinegar. And I'm just doing this quick to show you guys. A little bit of vinegar rinse. Okay, so the ball book says to have 2 inches of simmering water in here. I've got very hot water in here. It has not been simmering yet because we can out in our garage. We don't can here in the kitchen, although I could. Tonight I could. It's a nice cool night. I could. But I'm still going to go do it out in the kitchen. I think. I might have just changed my mind on this. But wherever I can. There's already hot water in here. The jars are nice and hot and sterile right now. I had them in some very hot water. So putting the hot chili into the hot jars and into the hot water, everything should be fine. So let's go ahead and ladle this up. And try not to be too messy about it, but it's me we're talking about. Let's see here. Oh, and 1 inch headspace. Here's the tool. We're going to get the air pockets out. We're going to stir it around, get the air pockets out. We're going to set this on the rim. And touching no chili, that will be 1 inch headspace. I also want to keep this stirred up. There's lots of good liquid in here. I did not add any liquid. There's lots of good liquid in here. And I want that evenly divided. I don't know if this is a thing or not, but I want it evenly divided between all the jars. So I'll probably stir this pretty good between each jar. The white chunks you see, that's the onion and garlic. So, here's what I'm going to do on all jars. I'm going to spare you guys watching me do this every single jar. But you see this down here? We got to get rid of that. So we're going to, yeah, I see that air bubble just came up. This is what we're going to do. We're going to get all these bubbles out of here. Look at that. Beautiful. Look at that uniformity coming in through there. Nice. There are some darker spots. Those are the purple onions that you're seeing. So I can see where that might get confusing, looking like a air pocket. The white chunks are white onion or possibly the garlic. Let's check that headspace. That is just a hair less than 1 inch. I want to put one more dab in there. Let's see what's left when we're all done. We're going to call this one good though. All right, check this out. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and some. Now, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. There's about 3/4 full. I think a lot of people would go ahead and can this, and I think I would not have a problem canning it, but I'm not going to. It's not a full pint, so I'm not going to. But what I am going to do is probably have this for snack tonight or lunch tomorrow. That's what I'm thinking, because I sampled this and it tastes good. So before we get the lids in the bands or the rings, the lids and the rings on, we want to take this and we want to clean this rim very well. Had one subscriber on the canning chicken video that we did last week point out that once you clean this rim off, we got oils and we got all kinds of gunk on our hands. No matter how clean you think your hands are, you do not want to touch this rim again before putting on the lid. And then we're going to hand tight. I don't know how to describe the hand tight. I always get confused on what different people say of different things. You're not cranking it down, but you want it tight. You shouldn't have to put a lot of muscle into it, but you do want it tight. The other thing you're doing when you're cleaning these off is you're looking for nicks and chips that might affect the seal. So this is all looking good, and you're feeling, when you're cleaning, you're feeling for rough spots and chips and stuff. So this one's good. All right, we're gonna get these all done, banded, and put in. Be right back. All right, let's drop these in. That water's still plenty warm. I am not going to, or wait, am I? I'm not going to worry about putting extra jars in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh yeah, maybe I will put one extra jar in. I have actually never done this. I'm not worried about it. I normally would not put an extra jar in, but doing it. There we go. All right, we are out in the garage canning. So here's what we gotta wait to happen. Steam is going to steadily flow out of this spout. Once we see that happening, we have to let it do that for 10 minutes. After it does that for 10 minutes, then we will put this weight on there. Once that weight's on there, this valve is going to pop up. I'm going to show you all this. And then pressure will start to build. It'll take a while, but we need to get it up to where we live, 11 pounds. All right? And then we're going to hold it there for 75 minutes, an hour and 15 minutes. We usually end up not being able to hold it really well. It goes to 12 to 13, or 13 to 14 is a lot of times where we end up holding it. So right now, we gotta wait a long time to get the water in there boiling and some steam coming out. All right, this has been steadily steaming very hard for actually over 10 minutes now. So we're gonna carefully put this on. And then it's been steaming so hard for so long now that this has already popped out. But a lot of times this won't pop out until you put that on. Now, for our elevation where we live, you need to check your elevation for where you live. For where we live, we're going for 11 pounds. And once it gets up to 11 pounds, then our clock will start for 75 minutes. All right, our 75 minutes is up. I did not get it all the way back down to 11. Not a big deal. We'll go ahead and turn this off. Now, we got to wait for that to go all the way down to 0. You're supposed to. I'm not seeing it. Look at that. That is so cool. I love it. All right. 7 pints of homemade chili canned per the ball book recipe. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good day. All right. So the last final step here is we're going to wash these things off. So in my last canning video, had somebody say they just wash theirs in soapy water in the sink instead of wiping it off like I do. So I'm just giving that a shot, see if I like it. Whatever I end up liking, I'll roll with. This seems pretty quick and painless. I like it. All right, there it is. Got it sitting right next to some venison stew that I made. I made that with the chicken canning video, if you saw that. I mean, I didn't really go into detail about the venison stew, but I did can it with some extra chicken. There it is, sitting up here on the shelf. Canned ground beef. I did sample this and it was good. I still have that 3/4 of a jar in the fridge. It's tasting pretty good.